I'm very fond of this place. I think it's magical. I think it's incredible. I am a Colorado kid, born and raised. I have lived in Crested Butte, or I've lived in the Gunnison Valley for 8 years.
We're a really small community. There's only a few thousand. I think there's 3,000 people that live here. Gunnison Valley is predominantly white. There's a lot of working families, and then there's a lot of families that live here. Maybe it's their second home and they decided to relocate here permanently. And it's not a very diverse community. I think that when you're walking down the street or if you're at an event, you typically see a lot of youngish, middle-aged white people.
That being said, I felt like this unnerving call to action in the lack of conversation and response in police brutality in America. And so I felt this calling and I took to it, and now I can't stop.
It really became apparent that the lack of diversity and the issues that we're facing is really a problem from white people. I mean, we've perpetuated it, we've been complicit in it, whether we've been consciously doing that or not. And it seems like the only way that this is going to improve is that if we educate ourselves and use our voices to make change and try to listen and try to facilitate different conversations.
I definitely, in painting the street, noticed a change in tourism. Like, we had a little bit more of a diverse pocket coming here and kind of celebrating us. I thought that was so exciting and phenomenal. I've noticed there is a lot of community buy-in, so to speak, in interest in the conversation, in disappointment that wasn't at the forefront to begin with. Like, there's an awakening happening in Crested Butte. And I think it's really, really powerful and really, really specific to us.
And while painting Black Lives Matter on elk was a little controversial and it was a little tricky to do, I think it was amazing because it really started the conversation, and people were saying they felt triggered. And that was, for me, a really interesting thing to hear, to better understand, well, why are you triggered? What does this mean? And I think it all led to some really great conversations, and hopefully it'll just continue leading to some more great stuff.
Not only did the street start the conversation of this is something we need to do, it really showcased who we are when we don't put those conversations forward, because we had tourists that were lifelong people that felt compelled to condemn us as a town all of a sudden. And our community really bonded through this movement and celebrated it.
As you dig into this, you realize that we weren't taught the full history. There was a lot of things left out. And so sometimes when comments are made in response to Black Lives Matter or to other issues of race, they come across as insensitive and offensive. And really, I think they show we don't have a full grasp on what has happened to people in our country.
I am floored, truly. I'm floored that there is space for it in everyone's hearts, truly. Like, they're not just doing performative action here. They are reading the books. They are perpetually asking the questions for themselves, for their families, in their workplace, and onward.
One of the most important things, though, is to get the word out and to educate everyone. This will only be successful if the community buys in as a whole and really understands why we're doing this and why it's important for them to be involved, if at just the bare minimum, just listening to these conversations.
My dream here is that we start from the beginning. We are creating new structure that, the new structures that are equitable and diverse and inclusive at all times. We are constantly having this at the forefront, and those will hopefully be like really integral parts of the community that will then kind of make up the landscape that we have, you know, been so accustomed to. It's going to change our whole blueprint.